Bengaluru witnessed its worst night of rioting in decades after an inflammatory social media post. Arsonists came in, they attacked a police station, they set a Congress MLA's house on fire. 145 people have been arrested, and the blame is being pinned on the Popular Front of India's political affiliate, the SDPI. Our reporter Nolan Pinto was out through the night in Bengaluru. In fact, he was amongst the journalists in Bengaluru who came under attack from the police and was caught in the crossfire. Here is our lead story tonight.
Smoldering, smashed, torched and wrecked. Bengaluru's worst night in a quarter century. That's how social media paved the mob's way in India's tech hub. A derogatory Facebook post by a close relative of a Congress MLA ran street riots. Slogan-shouting crowds swelled in a matter of minutes. Charging at the home of legislator Akhand Srinivasamurthy and a police station in the city's DJ Halli and KJ Halli neighborhoods. A trail of destruction left in its wake. Neighborhoods in ruins.
Police basically initially could not do anything as such. They struggled, and that's one of the reasons why senior officers came to the spot. The commissioner was here. He was also attacked. All the DCPs, Deputy Commissioner of Police, IPS officers were also at the spot. They had to request members of the community, senior leaders, to come and request people to actually stay calm, but that did not happen. The violence went on till late in the night, forcing the police to resort to lathi charge in some cases, to lobbing tear gas shells and also bullets. That was the situation.
Police opened fire, at least 3 people died, and 60 police personnel were injured in this dangerous confrontation.
रात में क्या हुआ बोले तो जैसा कि यहाँ पर पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट सब खड़ा था तो हमारे वगैरह सब मारे from the police it is no fault, from the public it is a fault.
The man who allegedly issued the derogatory Facebook post, Naveen, is under arrest. And so is Muzammil Pasha, a leader of the Social Democratic Party of India, for allegedly fomenting these riots.
Muzammil Pasha is Bangalore District Secretary. He had been there to give a complaint to the police station with the team. No, we are not able to understand how a person who was a complainant was in the station, being framed in the issue that he is a kingpin of this.
Is it a political conspiracy?
Yes, 100% it is a political conspiracy.
In all, at least 110 people have been taken into custody as of now.
We have arrested 110 people. They would be produced before the court. Even the person who was involved in the other case, in the initial case, has also been secured.
India Today's Nolan Pinto also suffered injuries in the violence.
When I came here last night, this particular bus was on fire. That was around 12 o'clock or 1 in the morning. This bus was on fire. The fire and emergency personnel were struggling to douse the flames. I need to mention about the fire and emergency personnel as well. They were not allowed to bring their vehicles to the spot. The mob, the rioters did not allow them. While the police station inside the vehicles were being burned and was burning, the fire force personnel could not come here.
Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa has described the violence as unprecedented in 25 years.
From last 20 years, such things have not happened in Bangalore or anywhere in the state.
True, sir.
These things happened, and we have taken a very severe steps, and culprits will be treated properly.
A disturbing sight in India's garden city and IT hub. Struggling with the pandemic and reeling in the aftermath of a violent night. With Nolan Pinto and Nagarjun Dwarkanath in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
Was the violence in Bengaluru a pre-planned conspiracy? Many elements of the ruling BJP government in Karnataka certainly seem to think so. They are alleging that the SDPI, the political wing of the Popular Front of India, the PFI, was responsible for this violence. In fact, SDPI convener Muzammil Pasha has been arrested by the Bengaluru police. Remember, the Social Democratic Party of India is also accused of having played a role in fomenting the anti-CAA riots in the national capital. Gaurav Sawant with our second story tonight.
Hours after the riots in Bengaluru, the police arrested Muzammil Pasha, a leader of the Social Democratic Party of India, or SDPI, on charges of rioting and inciting the mob. According to officials of the Bengaluru police, Pasha and some other SDPI members were seen at the scene of the violence, initially addressing and then allegedly inciting the gathering. More than 60 police personnel were injured and over 200 vehicles set on fire by a mob of a particular community, according to the police.
Yesterday night's incident is very unfortunate. Just I have visited this police station and I have assessed a lot of damages that took place yesterday's night's disturbance. And this also we are assessing all those losses of our yesterday's bad incident.
The Karnataka police are also probing whether the violence was planned. Hours after an objectionable post on social media, a large mob assembled at the residence of the Pulakeshi Nagar Congress MLA Akhand Srinivasamurthy, a Dalit, and vandalized that place. A mob also assembled at the KJ police station and not only vandalized it but also prevented reinforcements from reaching the police station. The police suspect some amount of planning definitely went into the violence.
सुबह जो अरेस्ट हुई हैं उसमें एसडीपीआई के कुछ कार्यकर्ताओं को अरेस्ट किया गया है और कर्नाटका में कांग्रेस का और एसडीपीआई का गठजोड़ भी रहा है। तो क्या कहीं ना कहीं कांग्रेस आज उन ताकतों के साथ खड़ी है जो टेरर के साथ खड़े हैं, देश में आतंक का माहौल बनाना चाहते हैं? ये बड़ा सवाल उठता है।
ये बीजेपी हुकूमत को सेटिस्फैक्शन करने के लिए इस काम किए है, ये सही नहीं, एक काकी का वर्दी का खिलाफ है। अगर मैं आपको चैलेंज करता हूं, अगर मुजम्मिल पाशा कौन सा गलती किया है, कोई आपको उसको पत्थरबाज किया हुआ है और डिफेमेटरी बात किया या प्रोवोकेटिव बात किया है, ऐसा कुछ सबूत रहा तो आप सबूत पेश कीजिए।
The Karnataka state BJP sees this as a fight for a community vote bank. This is an area where there is a considerable minority vote bank, and the SDPI, the political wing of the controversial Islamic organization Popular Front of India, has been trying to make inroads in the area where the Congress holds considerable sway.
आग लगा के बाद 200-300 व्हीकल डैमेज कर दिए, एमएलए घर भी डैमेज कर दिया है। दंगा करने का प्लान करके वे लोग आए हैं और we'll take serious action.
The SDPI was in the eye of a storm even in January 2020 when the Karnataka police arrested several SDPI activists for inciting violence during the Anti-Citizenship Amendment Act protests. In fact, in February 2020, even Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan had hit out at the SDPI for trying to incite violence during the anti-CAA protests.
SDPIയെ പോലുള്ള ചില തീവ്രവാദ സംഘങ്ങൾ ഇത്തരം പ്രശ്നങ്ങളിൽ ഇടപെട്ട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ വഴിതിരിച്ചു വിടാൻ ശ്രമിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതിന്റെ ഭാഗമായി ചില അക്രമ സംഭവങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ട്. ചിലയിടത്ത് ജനങ്ങളെ ഭിന്നിപ്പിക്കാനുള്ള നടപടികളും സ്വീകരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്.
The Karnataka police are currently hunting for 3 other SDPI leaders and activists allegedly on the run after the rioting in Bengaluru city.
SDPI is under the scanner, not just for its alleged involvement in riots in Bengaluru, it's also facing investigation for riots and anti-CA protests in Delhi and in Kerala. But the bigger concern for intelligence agencies and security forces is to find out whether riots in Delhi and Bengaluru were orchestrated, planned, and if there is a wider malicious agenda behind this violence. With Nolan Pinto in Bengaluru and cameraman Kripal Singh in Delhi, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.
There's a furious war of words breaking out between the BJP on the one side, the Congress and the SDPI on the other. How strong is the evidence to back those charges? Joining us on this broadcast, leading the broadside against the political wing of the Popular Front of India is its national IT chief and spokesperson Amit Malviya. Squaring off against him, representing the SDPI on this broadcast, is T.A. Rahmani, who's the national secretary of the Social Democratic Party of India. Brajesh Kalappa represents the Congress party, and we've got Dr. Shankar Bidri, who's a former Director General of Police of Karnataka. I want to go across first and foremost to Amit Malviya, because even when the Karnataka police has started its investigation, 165 rioters have been taken into custody. There are some SDPI people who are currently being traced by the Bengaluru police. You've gone out and said that this is a pre-planned conspiracy. Amit Malviya, where is your evidence to back that charge? On what basis are you levelling this charge? And then we'll get the SDPI to counter that. Amit, let's start.
Well, Rahul, if you see the kind of similarities between what's happened in Bengaluru and the kind of rioting that we saw in Delhi, there are a lot of common ground between the two. And the kind of violence that has been unleashed over the last 18 hours could not have happened without adequate preparation. Now, if you have to torch 2 police stations, vandalize media vehicles and assault media crew, and you have to also take down the MLA's house and that of his sister and gut it basically, it requires a great deal of preparation. And if you look at several social media accounts, most of them of people from a certain community, you will find that there was active mobilization that was unleashed around 7 p.m. or thereabouts, and the attack was actually taken out around 10, 11 in the evening and thereafter till about 2 a.m. in the morning. So clearly there is a planned effort to do this. More importantly, this alleged post that everybody's speaking about and nobody seems to have seen was made on the Sunday, and a police complaint was filed. So what was the need to actually have this kind of offensive put out on the night of Tuesday? Clearly somebody was instigating these young men from the Muslim community there and using them as cannon fodder for polarization, as we have now come together over the last 12-18 hours. So clearly there is a design. As far as the SDPI and PFI are concerned, let me be very categorical. In Karnataka, the Congress had a tacit alliance with the SDPI. Men involved in these episodes of rioting are those from SDPI, and you have the Congress giving them cover. Just last night, you had Dinesh Gundu Rao, who was their working president, actually came out in support of these men. Now, what does that tell you? It is planned, it's a conspiracy, it's meant to destabilize Bengaluru, which is pride of India, and tarnish India's image. Delhi, Bengaluru, there is a familiar pattern, big cities being attacked.
Okay, so T.A. Rahmani, this post that was put out by Naveen, who's the relative of the Congress MLA Akandashin Srinivas Murthy, whose house was torched, is condemnable, and there isn't anyone in his sane mind who'd say that I've seen what that post looks like, it's abhorrible what he said. But nobody's justifying it, and nobody said that this is the right thing to do or is cheering it. Why then did the SDPI get involved in putting out messages, trying to mobilize the youth? Your leaders were on the ground. And why this violence against police stations, against the MLA? And that MLA, even if it's his relative who's done it, how is the MLA responsible for this? The BJP is alleging that this is a pre-planned conspiracy to inflame passions amongst the Muslim youth. Respond to that, Mr. Rahman.
Yeah, I agree that this was a pre-planned conspiracy, and we have gathered some information that this boy Naveen, he actually belonged to the BJP, may not be its member, but he, even after becoming this, even the nephew of the Congress MLA, but he actually belonged to BJP. At a particular timing, they have posted such a blasphemous post on his account, and then within few hours from where the people gathered, this has to be inquired. As far as the SDPI is concerned, the same person, Muzammil Pasha, he was present in the police station. He was trying to control the mob and helping the police people. He has been seen, I have the videos with me, where he is announcing and appealing to the people through the public address system of the Bangalore police to maintain calm and peace and go back, and we will take the legal actions in a legalized way. He has been seen saying and appealing all such things. So, and after he went back at home around 12 midnight, and 3 a.m. he has been arrested by the same police whom he was actually helping and cooperating. So this way the SDPI has become a veil for every political activity, that whosoever commits crime, they use the name of the SDPI and PFI. For since 2008 onward, Congress and BJP both are using the name of PFI and SDPI, but they could never find any substantial proof, any sustainable proof in the court against the PFI or SDPI.
So let Amit Malviya respond to it.
January 2020.
The SDPI is saying that the video that is out in the public domain, the video that's been put out in the public domain actually has Muzammil Pasha, the SDPI leader, asking for calm. He's out there with members of the Muslim community, urging them to stay calm, which is the opposite of the charge that you're leveling. He says that this is a political witch hunt. You level these charges, and ultimately, when the investigation is carried out, don't find the evidence to back those politically motivated charges. Respond to Dr. Rahmani, Amit Malviya.
Look, Rahul, I'm not quite sure if the response of the SDPI spokesperson would have been any different. The fact is that we've heard this so often that it now seems like the story of the wolf has come. The reality is that in Delhi also we heard similar things about SDPI and PFI, about their non-involvement and so on and so forth. And when the police investigation unleashed and it took course, clearly a lot of them found themselves in the dock. There was voluminous evidence against them, so much so that they had to run a mercy campaign for some of their campaigners and some of their rioters. So that is the reality of it, and clearly they will go all out to defend Muzammil and whoever else is arrested and investigated over the next few months. But that's par for the course. The victimhood is one thing that the PFI, SDPI and some elements in the Muslim community use very effectively. But, you know, law will eventually look at evidences, it will look at hard facts, and then arrive at a conclusion. So I'm not going to legitimize this whole thing about Muzammil was out there asking for restraint, because it really does not make any sense. Let the police investigate, let the matter be looked at by the courts. But the reality is that there has been violence. Sitting MLA who comes from the Dalit community, his house has been gutted down, and it's unfortunate the Congress has disowned their own MLA. I mean, such is the compulsion for vote bank politics and appeasement that they would not even blink before dumping one of their own MLAs from the Dalit community. Now that speaks quite poorly for the Congress party and does not cover the SDPI and the Muslim groups who have been rioting in the glory.
So Brajesh Kalapa, your party is being accused of vote bank politics, appeasement, going soft on the PFI and the SDPI, giving cover, because ultimately the BJP says it's a fight to try and maintain the vote bank of the minority community in those pockets of Bengaluru, and the SDPI, you fear, is trying to make inroads, and that's the charge that the opposition needs to respond to. I want to go across also to Brajesh, to Dr. Shankar Bidari, the former Director General of Police of Karnataka. Dr. Bidari, on the basis of all the evidence and information in the public domain, who do you think is responsible for what happened last night? How substantive are the charges in your view that this was a politically engineered, pre-planned conspiracy?
The particular area in which the incidents have taken place has got a demographic composition which is peculiar. there the minority members are in large numbers. This SDPI and PFI have got a good hold in those areas. Particularly what has happened during recent times, we must accept the fact that however bitter it may be, there is a trust deficit between people belonging to different religions in the state as well as the country to some extent. Because of this trust deficit, a small spark is enough to create this kind of situations. And these rabid communal organizations which are involved in this case will be waiting for a spark. Today that spark has come in the form of a Facebook post. Though the complaint was filed, they could have dealt with the situation according to law and maintained peace. But instead they chose to make misuse of this opportunity and have indulged in such unprecedented violence which Bengaluru has never seen in recent times. More than 60 of our policemen have been very badly injured, 2 of our police stations have been destroyed, and about 400 vehicles have been gutted. And out of these 400 vehicles, a large number of vehicles belong to minority community only. And police have taken action. And police are effective, and the guidelines of the Government of India for the last 50 years are very clear. Whenever there is a communal flare-up, we have to take stern, strong action without hesitating to use force to the extent necessary. And that has been done by our Bengaluru police. I compliment them.
Brajesh Kalappa, your party is being accused of playing vote bank politics and appeasement, of being soft on the PFI and the SDPI, because it's being alleged that it's a quest to keep your Muslim vote bank intact and you don't want the SDPI to make inroads, which is why, despite the outrage, the Congress is alleged to go soft on the SDPI. How do you respond to the charges that Amit Malviya flung your way?
Amit Malviya doesn't know anything about Bengaluru, and I wish he had spent more time here. As far as the SDPI and the PFI are concerned, there are, like you rightly said in your question itself, they are people who are co-contestants against us. So therefore, obviously, we would not like them to win. So there is no question of having any tacit understanding. That rather, the tacit understanding is with the BJP. Ever since Mr. Modi has assumed office, he has consistently been speaking about banning the organization, of ensuring that the PFI is wiped out, and so on and so forth. Consistently, the Home Minister of India, whether it's Mr. Rajnath Singh or Mr. Amit Shah, have consistently been speaking about this. It's been 6 long years of Mr. Modi. Where has the ban come? It's been 1 year of Mr. Yediyurappa. Where has the ban come? Ultimately, I think Mr. Yediyurappa and the government of the BJP must answer as to why this is the second public firing. This is the second time people have been killed. Could the situation not have been handled better? This Facebook post came on Sunday. Was there insufficient time for the administration to douse the fires, to assuage feelings? Was there insufficient time to take care of the situation, to ensure that this kind of a conflagration didn't exist? Because every such conflagration only helps either the SDPI or the BJP. Because it's either the Muslims who are hurt or the Hindus who are hurt. So naturally, it's only these two parties who are hurt.
Okay, let Amit Malviya respond to it. Amit Malviya, you keep leveling these charges against the Popular Front of India in Karnataka, in Kerala, and now in Delhi. The Congress asks you, why don't you ban it? You've now been in power for 6 years in India, in the centre, and more than a year in Bengaluru.
Look, Rahul, I think we all know this, that the agencies are investigating the PFI threadbare. They are under scanner for the Delhi riots. They are under scanner for the radicalization that they have unleashed in Kerala. So it's about time that an appropriate decision will be taken. But in the meanwhile, those who are defending the PFI and those who are standing with the SDPI need to be exposed. I can bet my last dollar that when this ban is actually enforced, you will have members of the Congress go out to Supreme Court and defend and stand up against this ban. Let me be very categorical. The PFI is nothing but SIMI under another name. Most of their operatives who were earlier office bearers of SIMI have shifted lock, stock and barrel to PFI. But now
why haven't you banned it?
And everybody is talking about me.
As you are saying it is, you should have banned it by now.
Exactly. I'm just coming to that. And now with the UAPA in place, this kind of shifting of organizations when one gets banned to another one is not going to be possible. Now, the question of the ban, clearly, I let that answered by the agencies. But one thing is very clear, that PFI is a radical terror organization. SDPI, its political wing, has unleashed mayhem and terror across the country, and the Congress is in cahoots with it. And that is the important point that we need to make at this point in time.
Brajesh Kalappa wants to respond to that.
How fragile can somebody's
quick
faith
counter
be
from Brajesh
that a
Kalappa.
Facebook post should lead to...
There have been at least 18 cases which BJP spokespersons have continuously been speaking about, Rahul. 18 cases which the BJP spokespersons have continuously been speaking about. And they say their own RSS Karyakartas have been killed by PFI. So where's the difficulty in banning the organization? They didn't need the incident of what happened last night. They could have done it long before. But every single time, periodically, from time to time, they come and they say, no, we have to ban the organization and so on and so forth. What is wrong? Why have they not done it so far? Why are they not doing it today? The point is, ultimately, everybody must realize that SDPI and the RSS and the BJP and the SDPI are two sides of the same coin. They want to tear India apart. They want to create a divisive India which suits both their political narratives, and they want to ensure that this country is divided along religious lines. So it suits.
Let Amit Malviya respond to that. Let Amit Malviya respond to that. Amit.
Look, Rahul, I was making a point before Brajesh stepped in. The question is that how fragile is the faith of the minority community in this country, that a Facebook post should lead to such large-scale rioting, burning down of 300 vehicles, vandalizing police stations and houses of legislators who come from marginalized Dalit community. But having said that, let me assure Brajesh Kalappa and his friends in the Congress that it's about a matter of time when the agencies will arrive at a logical conclusion. And at that point in time, make sure that none of your leaders stand up to defend the PFI in the courts, because that is most likely going to happen. Remember, Simmi was defended by none other than Salman Khurshid, who's the leader of your party, and he's also stood up for PFI in the past. So please ensure that your leaders don't come around when the ban comes, because you have been asking for it on this program as loud as you can.
Now, Tia Rahmani, it's not just the BJP and the RSS that are suspicious of the Popular Front of India. In that report that we just played out, we had Pinarayi Vijayan, leader of the CPM government in Kerala, also talking about the radical activities of the SDPI, which was a threat to the security of Kerala. So it's not as if only Amit Malviya and his fellow travelers who see a problem with the SDPI. It's across the political spectrum.
Type of activities. They have investigated, the NIA has investigated us so many times and they found nothing. They have tried, the BJP government has tried to ban us in Jharkhand and they could not stand in the court. They have given so many of recommendations from Uttar Pradesh to ban us at the center. They could not find any sum. So they are just using our name to hide their own crimes and the political bad activities. They are just using our name. They don't have anything. And secondly, even the BJP, they have tried to contact us in Bengaluru to get our vote, to get their mayor elected over there. So they are the opportunist political parties and we are an ideological political party. That's why there is a difference. We are trying to go to the people and we are gaining ground amongst the people.
No, but between Sunday and Tuesday,
real problem
Dr. Rahmani, why was no effort made to calm down tempers in the Muslim community in Bengaluru? Why was no effort made to calm down tempers between Sunday and Tuesday? Between Sunday and Tuesday, the anger was allowed to fester, which saw physical manifestation then on Tuesday evening. Why was no effort made to calm down tempers in the Muslim youth community in Bengaluru who were clearly inflamed by that one cartoon? Mr. Rahmani.
Exactly, that was the question. We have tried, we went to the police station, our cadre and so many other organizations, the whole community has tried to go to the police station to register an FIR. They did not register at the first hand. Then when at 7 p.m. yesterday, they registered an FIR and they did not give any assurance that they are going to arrest them. And afterward, when the mob has become violent, tried to become violent and volatile, we tried to stop them, and we successfully tried. After all, within few hours, it was not police, it was our cadre who has stopped that cadre, and the police acted in a very partial manner. They did not use any water cannon, they did not use any cane charge, they did not use any the tear gas shelling. Straight directly they started shooting, and three boys has been killed. It was a police laxity, it was the lack of responsibility and phenomenal error from the Karnataka police. And obviously,
Shankar Bedari, respond to the charges.
They do the same way they did it in Delhi. So many charge sheets they have.
Shankar Bedari, respond to the charges against the Karnataka police. The principal charge is that it took too much time to register an FIR, that the police wanted that there be some kind of an amicable solution rather than pushing ahead, which is what the SDPI alleges inflamed the passions of those Muslim youth. Was there a delay? Did the police act in a partisan manner? Respond to the charges against the Karnataka police, Mr. Bedari. I want to show you now this report that we put together on the politics that's broken out in Bengaluru after this brutal violence of a kind that we haven't seen in Karnataka, especially in Bengaluru, in 2.5 decades. Massive back and forth. Yedurappa saying, the Chief Minister, that all efforts will be made to identify who's responsible and then ensure that the guilty have to pay. Here's the report.
After a night of shocking arson and tension, the aftermath of mob rage triggered by a social media post by a relative of an opposition Congress MLA. As a tense calm now prevails in this locality in East Bengaluru, the ruling BJP has declared the violence pre-planned and totally organized.
It looks like more a fight between SDPI and Congress. They are trying to create a law and order problem, which we are not going to allow. We have taken the strongest possible action. The DK Shivakumar should look into these aspects. To come out with a statement, they have taken many hours.
The arson and burning of vehicles, trying to burn the police station itself, and they have burnt MLA's house. They have taken law into their hands, and Gundaism was at the highest peak. We will book the culprit, however big he is, and we will book the organizations also who are behind.
While the Bengaluru Police Commissioner has cracked down and assured strict action against the rioters,
the situation is completely under control. We have imposed curfew in two police station limits, that is KG Halli and DJ Halli. We have arrested 110 people. They would be produced before the court. Even the person who was involved in the other case, in the initial case, has also been secured.
Politics over the flare-up has only just begun. Both the ruling party and opposition Congress are now engaged in a familiar and bitter war of words over the violence. The BJP has focused its attack on the fact that the Congress MLA whose property was torched on Tuesday night is a Dalit, claiming that the Congress would rather indulge in appeasement politics than support Dalits. The BJP is also accusing the Karnataka Congress's top leadership of taking the side of the mob.
कांग्रेस पार्टी ने इस पे बिल्कुल चुप्पी साधी हुई है। उन्होंने अपने विधायक को छोड़ तक दिया है। वो उन लोगों के साथ जाकर खड़े हो गए हैं जिन्होंने आगजनी करी, क्योंकि वो उनका वोट बैंक है। आज की तारीख में बेंगलुरु में सबसे ज़्यादा विधायक कांग्रेस और जेडीएस से आते हैं, तो स्वाभाविक सी बात है कि उनके हौसले बुलंद हैं, इसलिए वो इस प्रकार की चीज़ें आज कर रहे हैं।
The Congress on the back foot over the fact that it was their MLA who came under attack from the mob has countered the Yedurappa government, saying the BJP is trying to fan flames and gain political mileage over the violence.
There are so many tweets which has been done. and he's a BJP worker who has created this communal harmony. We are for peace. We don't want anyone to utilize, make use of this law and take the law into their hands.
A vitiated political atmosphere has just received its latest communally charged trigger. And while investigations continue into the flare-up, expect the politics to only get hotter. With Nolan Pinto in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.